End of Shabbat Shalom. How's my hair today? I was swimming all day, praise Yahweh. Beautiful day outside. Very relaxed today. A lot of fellowship. A lot of energy expelled. Kayaking. Not very much coffee, which is good. We're going to be in Psalms 10 today through 12. Only Psalms, no New Testament reading for today. I hope you guys have the Bible study and you're following along. And let's do what we do. Get on our knees and pray. Not with hair in our mouth. Because apparently there's hair in my mouth. Oh, Father Yahweh. Father Yahweh. You are so great. Things that you do are beyond my comprehension. And I just ask that you show yourself to the people, and that the people seek you and your face. Father Yahweh, there is none like you. You are the Aleph and the Tab. There is none to come. Give me the words of the Spirit. Help me to follow you in every action that I take. And not do anything extreme that I'm not ready for and that I will regret. Father Yahweh, I pray all this in the leadership of your people, the blessing over your people. In the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach, amen. Gonna get the other phone for some tunage. Let's see.
If you own a home in Westchester County or upstate New York, you could get the latest solar panels installed at no cost.
Lamed, why do you stand afar off, O Yahuwah, hiding in times of distress? In arrogance, wrongdoer hotly pursues the poor. They are caught by the schemes which they devised, for the wrongdoer boasted of cravings of his being. And the greedy one he has blessed, he has despised Yahuwah. In the pride of his face, the wrongdoer does not seek him. In all his thoughts there is no Elohim. His ways are always prosperous. Your right rulings are on high. Out of his sight he snorts at all his adversaries. He has said in his heart, I shall not be moved. from generation to generation. Never be an evil pay. His mouth is filled with cursing and deceit and oppression. Under his tongue is trouble and wickedness. He sits in the hiding places of the villages, in the secret places. He kills the innocent. Ayan. They are hiding their eyes from the helpless. He lies in wait in a secret place as a lion in his den. He lies in wait to catch the poor. He catches the poor, drawing him into his net. And he crouches, he lies low, and the helpless fall under his strength. He has said in his heart, El has forgotten. He has concealed his face. He shall never see. Cough. Arise, O Yahuwah. O El, lift up your hand. Do not forget the lowly ones. Why do the wrong scorn Elohim? He has said in his heart, it is not required. Resh. You have seen it. For you observe trouble and grief, to repay with your hand. The poor commits himself to you. You are the helper of the fatherless. Shin break the arm of the wrong one and the evil one. Search out his wrongness that would not be found. Yahuwah is a sovereign forever and ever. The nation shall perish from his land. Tav Yahuwah. You have heard the desire of the lowly ones. You prepare their heart. You incline your ear to defend the fatherless and the downtrodden, so that man who is of the earth no longer oppresses. In Yahuwah I have taken refuge. Why do you say to me, flee to your mountain like a bird? For look, the wrong bend a bow. They set the arrow on the string to shoot in darkness at the upright in heart. When the foundations are destroyed, what shall the righteous do? Yahuwah is in his set apart. Hakal, the throne of Yahuwah, is in the heavens. His eyes see. His eyelids examine the sons of men. Yahuwah tries the righteous, but his being shall hate the wrong, and the one who loves violence. Upon the wrong he rains snares. Fire and sulfur and a scorching wind are the portion of their cup. For Yahuwah is righteous. He has loved righteousness. The upright shall see his face. Save Yahuwah, for the lovingly committed one is no more. For the trustworthy have ceased from among the sons of men. They speak falsehood with each other. They speak with flattering lips. A double heart. Yahuwah does cut off all flattering lips. A tongue that speaks swelling words, who have said with our tongue we do mightily. Our lips are our own, who is master over us. Because of the oppression of the poor, because of the sighing of the needy, I now arise, says Yahuwah. I set in safety, he pants for it. The words of Yahuwah are clean words, silver tried in a furnace of earth, refined 7 times. You guard them, O Yahuwah. You preserve them from this generation forever. The wrong walk around on every side, when worthlessness is exalted among the sons of men. Alright, so we did it a little differently today because that was a longer beat. It was a longer instrumental, so we just kind of read them all. I'm trying to get the hang of this. I'm trying not to stress you guys out with my singing, but these psalms need to be sung. So still trying to find that part where it says that David's dancing embarrassingly for Yahweh. Lamed, Psalm 10, Lamed, why do you stand afar off, O Yahweh, hiding in times of distress? In arrogance the wrongdoer hotly pursues the poor. They are caught by the schemes which they devised. For the wrongdoer boasted of the craving of his being, and the greedy one he has blessed. He has despised Yahweh. In the pride of his face, the wrongdoer does not seek him. In all his thoughts there is no Elohim. His ways are always prosperous. Your right rulings are on high, out of his sight. He snorts at all his adversaries. He has said in his heart, I shall not be moved. From generation to generation, never be an evil. Pay. His mouth is filled with cursing and deceit and oppression. Under his tongue is trouble and wickedness. He sits in the hiding places of the villages. In the secret places he kills the innocent. Ayin, they are hiding their eyes from the helpless. He lies in wait in secret places, as a lion in his den. He lies in wait to catch the poor. He catches the poor, drawing him into his net. And he crouches, he lies low, and the helpless fall under his strength. He has said in his heart, El has forgotten. He has concealed his face. He shall never see. Cough. Arise, O Yahuwah, O El, lift up your hand. Do not forget the lowly ones. Why do you scorn Elohim? He has said in his heart, it is not required. Resh, you have seen it, for you observe trouble and grief, to repay with your hand. The poor commits himself to you. You are the helper of the fatherless. Shin, break the arm of the wrong one and the evil one. Search out his wrongness that would not be found out. Yahuwah is sovereign forever and ever. The nations shall perish from his land. Tav, Yahuwah, you have heard the desire of the lowly ones, you prepare their heart. You incline your ear to defend the fatherless and the downtrodden, so that man who is of the earth no longer oppresses. Okay. Because Yahweh is the master, so man can't oppress. These are called the books of wisdom. These are very persuasive, motivating words. Try to be motivating in this. A lot of this has been practically applying the Bible to life, applicably, practically. So I'm not seeing too many Bible references in this, so we'll see where this goes. Lamed, why do you stand afar off, O Yahuwah, hiding in times of distress? Just read Job. But I don't want to, that's not this. I had a lady talking to me today about how her son died 12 years ago. I think he was like 12 or 17. But she's like, you do not tell a grieving woman God has a plan. And that's not the point of Job. The point of Job is that God understands. God knows how you are. He watched you fall. And so he wants you to get back up. That's the point of Job. Even giving his son, his perfect son, for you. Yeshua HaMashiach. In arrogance, the wrongdoer hotly pursues the poor. They are caught by the schemes which they devised. For the wrongdoer boasted of the cravings of his being. We read this, Matthew 5, I want to say 3. Blessed are the poor in spirit, because theirs is the reign in the heavens. In arrogance, the wrongdoer hotly pursues the poor. Why are you pursuing the poor? In arrogance, the wrongdoer hotly pursues the poor. So, do not favor the poor in his strife, nor do you oppress the poor. Boy, this is a simple scripture to not be able to find. We're going to go to Leviticus 25:35. Praise the Spirit of Yahweh. And when your brother becomes poor and his hand has failed with you, then you shall strengthen him, and he shall live with you like a sojourner or a settler. Take no interest from him or profit, but you shall fear your Elohim, and your brother shall live with you. Do not lend him your silver on interest, and do not lend him your food for profit. I am Yahweh your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim to give you the land of Canaan to be your Elohim. And when your brother who dwells by you becomes poor and sells himself to you, do not make him serve as a slave, but as a hired servant. As a settler he is with you, and serves you until the year of Yobel. And then he shall leave you, he and his children with him, and shall return to his own clan, even to return to the possession of his fathers. For they are my servants, whom I brought out of the land of Mitzrayim. They are not sold as slaves. Do not rule over him with harshness, but you shall fear your Elohim. Then we go into slaves. We go back to 25. When your brother becomes poor and has sold some of his possessions, and his redeemer, a close relative, comes to redeem it, then he shall redeem what his brother sold. And when the man has no one to redeem it, but he himself becomes able to redeem it, then let him count the years since its sale, and return the remainder to the man to whom he sold it. So he shall return to his possessions. And if his hand has not found enough to give back to him, then what was sold shall remain in the hand of him who bought it until the year of Yobel, and it shall be released in the Yobel, and he shall return to his possession. And when a man sells a house in a walled city, then his right of redemption shall be at the end of the year after it is sold. His right of redemption lasts a year. But if it is not redeemed within a complete year, then the house in the walled city shall be established beyond reclaim to the buyer of it. Throughout his generation, it is not released in the Yobel. Got some laws for the poor there. There was one about not favoring the poor. I will go to Ezekiel 18 because we're very familiar with it. And I'm aware that it says... Let's talk about oppressing the poor, but it says oppress anyone. You don't just not oppress the poor, you don't oppress anyone. They are caught by the schemes which they devise, for the wrongdoer boasted of the cravings of his being, and the greedy one he has blessed. He has despised Yahuwah. The wrongdoer blesses the greedy one. In the pride of his face, the wrongdoer does not seek him, Elohim. In all his thoughts there is no Elohim. His ways are always prosperous. Your right rulings are on high out of his sight. Hosea 8, put a shofar to your mouth like an eagle against the house of Yahuwah, because they have transgressed my covenant, and they have rebelled against my Torah. They cry out to me, my Elohim, we Yisrael know you. Yisrael has rejected what is good, an enemy pursues him. They have made sovereigns, but not from me. They have made rulers, but I have not known. From their silver and gold they made idols for themselves, so that they are cut off. O Shomeron, your calf has been cast off. My wrath has burned against them. How long shall they be incapable of innocence? For from Yisrael is even this, a workman made it, and it is not Elohim. For the calf of Shomeron is splinters. For they sow the wind and reap the whirlwind. The stalk has no bud, it yields no grain. If it does yield, strangers swallow it up. Yisrael has been swallowed up. They have now become among the nations as a vessel in which is no pleasure. For they themselves have gone up to Ashur. A wild donkey alone by itself is Ephraim. They have hired lovers. Also, although they sold themselves among the nations, this time I shall gather them, when they have suffered for a while from the burden of a sovereign of rulers. Since Ephraim has made many slaughter places for sin, they have been slaughter places for sinning to him. I have written for him numerous matters of my Torah. They were regarded as strange. As for my slaughterings, they slaughter flesh and they eat. Yahuwah shall not accept them. Now, does he remember their crookedness and punish their sins? Let them return to Mitzrayim. For Israel has forgotten his maker, and has built palaces, and Yehudah has increased walled cities, but I shall send fire upon his cities, and it shall devour his strongholds. In all his thoughts there is no Elohim. 10:4. His ways are always prosperous. Your right rulings are on high out of his sight. Elohim's ways are always prosperous. We're referencing multiple people.
He has said in his heart, I shall not be moved from generation to generation. Never be an evil. So basically that he said in his heart, I'm not doing anything wrong. Hey, his mouth is filled with cursing and deceit and oppression. It's not necessarily four-letter words. Under his tongues is trouble and wickedness. However, if you're just saying like what the fuck's going on here? I don't like that. We'll find a context for it, but if you're like telling your brother to go F himself, telling your brother to go fuck himself, then that's not good. But if you're using it like not aggressively, then not to put down another, it's not cursing. Under his tongue is trouble and wickedness, and that's the heart condition behind the cursing, right? The malintended four-letter word, right? Like, you're a piece of shit. Get out of here, son of a bitch. You know, like, that's troublesome and wickedness. It's troublesome and wicked. He sits in the hiding places of his villages. In the secret places, he kills the innocent. Don't be doing that shit. Like, that's a proper use of a bad word. Ayin. They are hiding their eyes from the helpless. He lies in wait in a secret place, as a lion in his den. Daniel 6:14. Then the sovereign, when he heard these words, was greatly displeased with himself and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him. Let's go up to 13. Then they answered and said before the sovereign, Daniel, who is one of the sons of the exile from Yehuda, pays no heed to you, O sovereign, nor for the interdict that you have signed, but makes his petition 3 times a day. He's praying to Elohim. Then the sovereign, when he heard these words, was greatly displeased with himself and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him. And he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. Then these men tumultuously gathered before the sovereign and said to the sovereign, Know, O sovereign, that it is the law of the Medes and the Persians that any interdict or decree which the sovereign establishes is not to be changed. Then the sovereign gave orders, and they brought Daniel and threw him into the den of lions. But the sovereign spoke and said to Daniel, Your Elah, whom you serve continually, he himself delivers you. And a stone was brought and laid on the mouth of the den, and the sovereign sealed it with his own signet, and with the signets of his great men, that the situation concerning Daniel might not be changed. And the sovereign went into his palace and spent the night fasting, and no entertainment was brought before him, and his sleep fled from him. Then the sovereign rose up early in the morning and hurried to the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he called with a grieved voice to Daniel. The sovereign spoke to Daniel and said, Daniel, servant of the living Elah, has your Elah, whom you serve continually, been able to deliver you from the lions? Then Daniel said to the sovereign, O sovereign, live forever. My Elah has sent his messenger and shut the lions' mouths, and they did not harm me because I was found innocent before him. And also before you, O sovereign, I have done no harm. Then the sovereign was very glad and gave orders that Daniel be taken up out of the den. And Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no harm was found on him because he trusted in his Elah. So, this wrong man who lies in wait in a secret place as a lion in his den, Shaul twice, Peter Kepha twice gets out of prison. Shaul twice is beaten almost to death. They think he's dead the first time, and then beaten and put in prison in stocks, feet shackles, and then he's delivered as well. He lies in wait to catch the poor. He catches the poor, drawing him into his net. And so the context here is that, like, this is a wrong, like, the disposition of a wrong man to the poor and to the less privileged is has said in his heart, I shall not be moved from generation to generation, never be an evil. That's what a wrong man will say when he does bad things to the poor, and he won't feel bad about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to mess up. Like, it's one thing to, like, you know, when you're walking, like, homeless people are freaking everywhere. If there's a homeless person on every block, you can't help all of them. And, like, even staying with the 12 tribes, like, they don't look at the people that are doing fentanyl, that are doing the fentanyl walk outside their deli. You know what I mean? And it's like, I told them straight up, yo, 30 of your brothers lock hands around this building and pray, all this shit will stop tomorrow. Yahuwah can remove every single demon out of this building in one prayer. Yahuwah can. He catches the poor, drawing him into his net. And he crouches, he lies low, and the helpless fall under his strength. Sets a trap for him. It's not even a straight up thing. Sets a trap. Kind of like a scammer, but more organized. Kind of like if you like see a website and then, or like if you order a gold bracelet on eBay and it's not real gold when you get it. It's like scammers nowadays, I think of just scammers as like straight up calling people and being like, hi, can I have your credit card number? Crouches, he lies low, and the helpless fall under his strength. He has said in his heart, El has forgotten, he has concealed his face, he shall never see. I shall not be moved from generation to generation, never be an evil. Koph, arise, O Yahuwah, O El, lift up your hand, do not forget the lowly ones. Why do the wrong scorn Elohim? He has said in his heart, it is not required. You ever said that? Guilty. Shamefully guilty. You know, but I do. I go back to the homeless people. And it's like, none of them should be homeless. I don't have the resources to take care of them. And I know that the people that do also know that if they tried to, they would not have their resources anymore. And, you know, so I just think about it in context with the pizzeria. You know, I often wonder, like, I was trying to do so much and I didn't realize that, you know, where that would take me and the only way to do it. And even that once I found the way to do it, it wouldn't be as simple and easy as effective as I thought it would be, you know. And I guess it was juvenile of me to just be like, oh, we're going to just God all this away, you know what I mean? It's not impossible, but I guess I should have spent more time in Acts where the Yehudi or the, you know, Shaul is getting beaten and not even the persecution. It's just the ability to, like, some hear him and some don't, you know. And having passed through Phrygia and the Galatian country, they were forbidden by the set-apart Spirit to speak the word in Asia. When they came to Mysia, they tried to go into Bithynia, but the Spirit did not allow them. And having passed by Mysia, they came down to Troas, and in the night a vision appeared to Shaul. A man of Macedonia was standing, begging him and saying, "Come over to Macedonia and help us." Help us. And when he saw the vision, immediately we sought to go to Macedonia, concluding that the master had called us to bring the good news to them. Therefore, sailing from Troas, we ran a straight course to Samothrace, and the next day came to Neapolis, and from there to Philippi, which is the principal city of that part of Macedonia, a colony. And we were staying in that city for some days, and on the Sabbath day we went outside the city by a river where there used to be prayer. Having sat down, we were speaking to the women who met there, and a certain woman named Lydia, a seller of purple from the city of Thyatira, worshipping Elohim, was hearing, whose heart the master did open to pay attention to what Shaul said. And when she was immersed in her household, she begged us, saying, "If you have judged me to be believing in the master, come to my house and stay." And she urged us. And it came to be, as we went to prayer, that a certain slave girl, possessed with the spirit of Puthan, did meet us, who brought her masters much profit by foretelling. Having followed Shaul and us, she cried out, saying, "These men are the servants of the Most High Elohim, who proclaim the way of deliverance." And she was doing this for many days, but Shaul, greatly annoyed, turned and said to the spirit, "I command you in the name of Yeshua Messiah to come out of her." And it came out that same hour. So, command these demons in the name of Yeshua Messiah, and they will leave the people. But we also see here, one woman is taken, one woman is left. This woman's cleansed, so she might have become a believer. She might have not. I don't know, but some get it and some don't, and you can't help them all. They go into these places and, they get a great convert, and then they get people who don't want them there. Resh, you have seen it. For you observe trouble and grief to repay with your hand. The poor commits himself to you. You are the helper of the fatherless. You are the helper of the fatherless. Deuteronomy 28:30. You become engaged to a wife, but another man does lie with her. You build a house, but do not dwell in it. You plant a vineyard, but do not use its fruit. Your ox is slaughtered before your eyes, but you do not eat of it. Your donkey is violently taken from before you, and it is not given back to you. Your sheep are given to your enemies, and no one to save them. Your sons and your daughters are given to another people, and your eyes look and fail for them all day long, and your hand powerless. A people whom you have not known eat the fruit of your land and all your labors, and you shall be only oppressed and crushed all the days. And you shall be maddened because of the sight which your eyes see. This is not what Yahweh wants to do, but this is what Yahweh will do. Let me see this one. Should have just went here. start at 14. Exodus 22:14. And when a man borrows from his neighbor, and it is injured or dies while the owner of it is not present, he shall certainly repay. But if its owner was with it, he does not repay. If it was hired, he is entitled to the hire. And when a man entices a maiden who is not engaged and lies with her, he shall certainly pay the bride price for her to be his wife. If her father absolutely refuses to give her to him, he pays according to the bride price of maidens. Do not allow a practicer of witchcraft to live. Anyone lying with a beast shall certainly be put to death. He who slaughters to an Elohim, except to Yahuwah only, is put under the ban. Do not tread down a sojourner or oppress him, for you were sojourners in the land of Mitzrayim. Okay, so these are the types of things that we're talking about here. Repaying a neighbor, bestiality, slaughtering to false gods. This is after the Ten Commandments are come. Witchcraft, all in the same category with do not afflict any widow or fatherless child. If you do afflict them at all, if they cry out to me at all, I shall certainly hear their cry. And my wrath shall burn, and I shall kill you with the sword. Your wives shall be widows, and your children fatherless. If you do lend silver to any of my people, the poor among you, you are not to be like the one that lends on interest to him. Do not lay interest on him. If you take your neighbor's garment as a pledge at all, you are to return it to him before the sun goes down, for that is his only covering. It is his garment for his skin. What does he sleep in? And it shall be that when he cries to me, I shall hear, for I show favor. Do not revile an Elohim, nor curse a ruler of your people. Do not delay giving your harvest or your vintage. Give me the firstborn of your sons. Likewise, you are to do with your oxen, with your sheep. It is to be with its mother 7 days. On the 8th day, you give it to me. And you are set apart men to me, and you do not eat any meat which is torn to pieces in the field. You throw it to the dogs. Okay, this, I just want to make clear. Exodus 22:28. Do not revile an Elohim. This is a small e Elohim. It's also written in 20, a small e Elohim. You do not slaughter to an Elohim. So, like, if you were slaughtering to, like, basically a king, because the context for small e Elohims, there's 4 of them that I know of in the Bible pertaining to actual men. One is Exodus 4:16, and he shall speak for you to the people, and it shall be that he shall be a mouth for you, and you shall be an Elohim for him. This is Moshe to Aaron. You will be an Elohim to Aaron. Moshe also, so Yahweh said to Moshe, see, I have made you an Elohim to Pharaoh, and Aaron your son is your prophet. This is Exodus 7:1. Okay. And then we're familiar with Psalm 82:6 and John 10:34, which references it in that we are sons of Elohim. We are Elohim. I said you are Elohim, and all of you are sons of the Most High. Okay, so you do not revile an Elohim as a leader in 28, and then in 20, you do not slaughter to an Elohim. You would not slaughter to a leader. Make no man on a pedestal worth killing another life for and bringing it to him and sacrificing it to. You don't do it to false gods that you can't see, and you don't do it to people. So I just wanted that context clear. But put in the same category as do not forsake the widow and the orphan. Is that how it said? Those are the exact words. Do not afflict any widow or any fatherless child. Okay. Cool. shin, break the arm of the wrong one and the evil one. Search out his wrongness that would not be found. We know wrongness, unrighteousness. Sin is 1 John 3:4, transgression of the law. Yahuwah is sovereign forever and ever. The nations shall perish from his land. Yahuwah is sovereign forever and ever. I mean, he sits on the throne. What am I looking for here? Matthew 27:22. Pilate said to them, "What then shall I do with Yeshua, who is called Messiah?" They all said to him, "Let him be impaled." And the governor said, "Indeed, what evil has he done?" And they were crying out all the more, saying, "Let him be impaled." And when Pilate saw that he was getting nowhere, but rather an uproar was starting, he took water and washed his hands before the crowd, saying, "I am innocent of the blood of this righteous one. You shall see to it." And all the people answering said, "His blood be on us and our children." Then he released Barabbas to them, but having Yeshua whipped, he delivered him over to be impaled. Then the soldiers of the governor took Yeshua into the court and gathered the entire company of soldiers around him. And having stripped him, they put a scarlet robe on him. And plaiting a crown of thorns, they put it on his head and a reed in his right hand, and they kneeled down before him and mocked him, saying, "Greetings, sovereign of the Yehudim." And spitting on him, they took the reed and struck him on the head. And when they had mocked him, they took the robe off him, then put his own garment on him, and led him away to be impaled. And as they were going, they found a man of Cyrene, Shimon by name. They compelled him to bear his stake. And when they came to a place called Golgotha, that is to say, place of a skull. So Simon here is carrying the cross for Yeshua, the stake. They gave him wine mixed with bile to drink, and after tasting it, he would not drink it. Having impaled him, they divided his garments, casting lots, that it might be filled with what was spoken by the prophets. They divided my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots. And sitting down, they guarded him there. And they put up over his head the written charge against him: "This is Yeshua, the sovereign of the Yehudim." Okay. Yahweh is sovereign forever and ever. The nation shall perish from his land. That was Matthew 27 that we were reading. And now if we go, I started at 22. 27, 22. And then if we go to the end of 28, 20. And see, I am with you always until the end of the age. Forever and ever. The nation shall perish from his land. We know that they dispossess the nations. Oh, that is Deuteronomy 12. Do we know that yet? But you shall pass over the Jordan and shall dwell in the land which Yahweh your Elohim has given you to inherit. And he shall give you rest from all your enemies round about, and you shall dwell in safely. And it shall be that unto the place which Yahweh your Elohim chooses to make his name dwell there, there you are to bring all that I command you, your ascending offerings and your slaughterings and your tithe and your contribution of your hand, and all your choice offering which you vow to Yahweh. And you shall rejoice before Yahweh your Elohim, you and your sons and your daughters, and your male servants and your female servants, and the Levite who is within your gates, since he has no possession nor inheritance with you. Guard yourself that you do not offer your ascending offerings in every place that you see, except in the place which Yahweh chooses. In one of your tribes, there you are to offer your ascending offerings, and there you are to do all that I command you. Only whatever your being desires you shall slaughter and eat according to the blessing of Yahweh your Elohim, which he has given you within all your gates. The unclean and the clean you do not eat of it. Of the gazelle and the deer alike. Only the blood you do not eat. The unclean and the clean the clean do eat of it. The unclean and the clean people do eat of it. Of the gazelle and the deer alike, and the blood you do not eat, pour it on the earth like water. Okay, and we were up here for verse 2 of chapter 12. Completely destroy all the places where the nations which you are dispossessing serve their mighty ones, on the high mountain and on the hills and under every green tree. The nation shall perish in his land. Of Yahweh, you have heard the desire of the lowly ones. You prepare their heart. You incline your ear to defend the fatherless and the downtrodden, so that man who is of the earth no longer oppresses. Why? Because men are oppressing. And if we go to 1 Samuel 8, you will see exactly how that works. 8:1, and it came to be when Shemuel was old that he made his sons rulers over Israel. And the name of his firstborn was Yoel, and the name of his second Abijah, rulers in Beersheba. But his sons did not walk in his ways, and turned aside after his own gain, and took bribes and twisted right ruling. And all the elders of Israel gathered together and came to Shemuel at Ramah, and said to him, Look, you are old, and your sons do not walk in your ways. Now appoint for us a sovereign to rule us like all the nations. But the word was evil in the eyes of Shemuel when they said, Give us a sovereign to rule us. So Shemuel prayed to Yahweh. And Yahweh said to Shemuel, Listen to the voice of the people and all that they say to you. For they have not rejected you, but they have rejected me from reigning over them. Yahweh is sovereign forever and ever. According to all the works which they have done since the day that I brought them up out of Mitzrayim, even to this day, forsaking me, and serving other mighty ones, so they are doing to you too. And now, listen to their voice, but you shall certainly warn them, and shall make known to them the ruling of the sovereign who does reign over them. And Shemuel spoke all the words of Yahweh to the people who asked him for a sovereign, and said, This is the ruling of the sovereign who does reign over you. He shall take your sons and appoint them for his own chariots to be his horsemen, and they shall run before his chariots. And appoint commanders over his thousands, and commanders over his fifties, and to plow his ground, and reap his harvest, or to make his weapons, and equipment for his chariots. And your daughters he is going to take to be perfumers, and cooks, and bakers, and the best of your fields, and your vineyards, and your olive trees he is going to take, and give them to his servants. And the tenth of your grain and your vintage he is going to take, and give it to his officers and servants. And your male servants, and your female servants, and your best young men, and your donkeys he is going to take, and use for his own work. A tenth of your sheep he is going to take, and you are to be his servants. And you shall cry out in that day because of your sovereign, whom you have chosen for yourselves, but Yahweh is not going to answer you in that day. However, the people refused to listen to the voice of Shemuel, and said, No, but let a sovereign be over us. Then we shall be, we also, like all the nations, and our sovereign shall rule us, and go out before us and fight our battles. And Shemuel heard all the words of the people, and he repeated them in the hearing of Yahweh. And Yahweh said to Shemuel, Listen to their voice, and make them a sovereign. And Shemuel said to the men of Israel, Each of you go to his own city. So that man who is of the earth no longer oppresses. Yahweh is a sovereign forever and ever. Psalm 11. In Yahweh I have taken refuge. You know that from Psalm 7 and Psalm 9. Psalm 9:9. Why do you say to me, Flee to your mountain like a bird? For look, the wrong bend a bow. They set their arrow on the string, to shoot in darkness at the upright in heart. Okay, so this is a threat. Let's read on. When the foundations are destroyed, what shall the righteous do? Yahweh is in his set-apart call. The throne of Yahweh, sovereign forever and ever, the throne of Yahweh is in the heavens. His eyes see, his eyelids examine the sons of men. Yahweh tries the righteous, but his being shall hate the wrong. And the one who loves violence, upon the wrong he rains snares. Fire and sulfur, Genesis 18, and the scorching wind are the portion of their cup. For Yahweh is righteous, he has loved righteousness, the upright shall see his face. So, David's writing the Psalms. If you've ever been bullied, or you've ever been, you've been bullied for goodness, right? So I'm thinking nerds here, they're so smart, and people just don't like them because they're smart, or the rich kid people don't like because he's rich, or whatever you're too much of. Flee to your mountain like a bird. Go away from us, as you are not one of us because of you're an outlier, right? And so there's always groups, like the rich kids hang with the rich kids, and the mathletes hang with the mathletes, and that kind of works out in the world, but we should all be one together under Elohim, and if they stray from their group, there's a back away from us. It's not often that people are accepted. And this is one of the things that we need to know and show about Yeshua Messiah. And so, all of the rest of 11 is a confidence booster. It's it's a pep talk for the bullied. We are going to go to Genesis 19. I said 18 when I was reading it, but it's 19. And the two messengers came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. And when Lot saw them, he rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, Look, please, my masters, please turn into your servant's house, and spend the night, and wash your feet, and rise up early, and go your way. And they said, No, but let us spend the night in the open square. But he urged them strongly, and they turned to him, and came into his house. And he made them a feast, and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. And before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both old and young, all the people from every part surrounded the house. We're going to have a party on this chapter. And they called to Lot and said to him, Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us and let us know them. So Lot went out to them through the doorway and shut the door behind him. And he said, Please, my brothers, do not do evil. Look, please, I have 2 daughters who have not known a man. Please let me bring them out to you, and do to them as you wish, only do no deed to these men, because they have come under the shadow of my roof. But they said, Stand back. And they said, This one came in to sojourn, and should he always judge? Now, we are going to treat you worse than them. So they pressed hard against the man Lot, and came near to break down the door. But the men reached out their hands, and pulled Lot into the house with them, and shut the door. Then they struck the men who were at the doorway of the house with blindness, both small and great, and they wearied themselves to find the door. And the men said to Lot, Have you anyone else here, a son-in-law, and your sons and your daughters, and whoever you have in this city, bring them out of this place? For we are going to destroy this place, because the cry against them has grown great before the face of YHWH, and YHWH has sent us to destroy it. And Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law, who had married his daughters, and said, Get up, get out of this place, for YHWH is going to destroy this city. But to his sons-in-law he seemed to be as one is joking. And when morning dawned, the messengers urged Lot to hurry, saying, Get up, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, lest you be consumed in the punishment of the city. And while he loitered, the men took hold of his hand and his wife's hand, and the hand of his 2 daughters, YHWH having compassion on them, and they brought him out and set him outside the city. And it came to be, when they had brought them outside the city, that he said, Escape for your life. Do not look behind you, nor stay anywhere in the plain. Escape to the mountains, lest you be consumed. And Lot said to them, Oh no, YHWH. Look, please, your servant has found favor in your eyes, and you have increased your loving commitment, which you have shown me by saving my life. But I am unable to escape the mountains, lest calamity overtake me and I die. Escape to the mountains, lest calamity overtake me and I die. Look, please, this city is near enough to flee to, and it is small. Please let me escape there. Is it not a small matter, and let my life be saved? And he said to him, Look, I have favored you concerning this matter also, without overthrowing the city for which you have spoken. Hurry, escape there, for I am not able to do any deed until you arrive there. So the name of the city was called Zoar. The sun had risen upon the earth when Lot entered Zoar. And YHWH rained sulfur and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah from YHWH out of the heavens. So he overthrew those cities, and all the plain, and all the inhabitants of the cities, and what grew on the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a post of salt. And Abraham arose early in the morning, and went to the place where he had stood before YHWH. And he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and toward all the land of the plain. And he looked and saw the smoke of the land, which went up like the smoke of a furnace. Thus it came to be, and when Elohim destroyed the cities of the plain, that Elohim remembered Abraham, and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in which Lot had dwelt. And Lot went up out of Zoar, and dwelt in the mountains, and his 2 daughters were with him, for he was afraid to dwell in Zoar. And he and his 2 daughters dwelt in a cave. And the firstborn said to the younger, Our father is old, and there is no man on the earth to come in to us, as is the way of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine and lie with him, so that we preserve the seed of our father. So they made their father drink wine that night, and the firstborn went in and lay with her father, and he was not aware of it when she lay down or when she arose. And it came to be on the next day that the firstborn said to the younger, See, I lay with my father last night. Let him make him drink wine tonight as well, and you go in and lie with him, so that we keep the seed of our father. So they made their father drink wine that night as well, and the younger arose and lay with him. And he was not aware of it when she lay down or when she arose. Thus both the daughters of Lot became pregnant by their father. And the firstborn bore a son called his name Moab. He is the father of the Moabites to this day.
And the younger, she also bore a son, and called his name Ben-Ami. He is the father of the children of Ammon to this day. So, that's why the Moabites and the Ammonites are not people for Elohim. They are on the list of people who will be eradicated from the promised land. If we go to Deuteronomy 7. Nope. Not in there. Maybe Judges? Okay. Well, we'll go back to that one. Because we hear about the Moabites and the Ammonites all the time, and the point of that story was not about them, but about the fire and the sulfur and the flee to the mountains. Where did we read it? Verse 17. Escape to the mountains lest you be consumed. Boy, and so that's the context of the nerd in the wrong social circle, is that they're saying for your safety, flee to the mountains as like a bird, because it's where you'll be safe. Psalm 12. Save Yahuwah, for the lovingly committed. Save Yahuwah, for the lovingly committed one is no more. For the trustworthy have ceased from among the sons of men. They speak falsehood with each other. They speak with flattering lips, a double heart. Double heart is somewhere in Jeremiah. Excuse me. Boy. Am I an Elohim close by, declares Yahuwah, and not an Elohim far off? If anyone is concealed in secret places, would I not see him, declares Yahuwah? Do I not fill the heavens and the earth, declares Yahuwah? That's Jeremiah 23, 23, and 24, which perfectly ties into Psalm 10.
7. Or Psalm 10:7, Psalm 10:8, and yeah, it is 1. It's right in the first verse. It's right where it was. I just don't know why I couldn't see it. Psalm 10, 1 and 8. Boy, we're getting late here. Should have started this a long time ago. Sorry, Al. Sorry, Al. I know that Ezekiel 26 is about the heart of stone and heart of flesh. I thought that in Jeremiah. Just a couple verses away. I have heard what the prophets have said, who prophesy falsehood in my name, saying, I have dreamed, I have dreamed. Till when shall it be in the heart of the prophets of falsehood and the prophets of the seed of their own heart, who try to make my people forget my name by their dreams which everyone relates to his neighbor, and as their fathers forget my name for Baal. The prophet who has a dream, let him relate the dream, and he who has my word, let him speak my word in truth. What is the chaff to the wheat, declares Yahweh? Is not my word like a fire, declares Yahweh, and like a hammer that shatters a rock? Therefore, see, I am against the prophets, declares Yahweh, who steal my words, every one from his neighbor. See, I am against the prophets, declares Yahweh, who use their tongue and say, he declares. Alright. See, I am against those who prophesy false dreams, declares Yahweh, and relate them, and lead my people astray by their falsehood and by their reckless boasting. But I myself did not send them, nor have I commanded them, and they do not profit this people at all, declares Yahweh. That was Jeremiah 23, 25 to 32. We read 23 and 24 in the context of 10. Additionally, praise Yahweh, they speak falsehood with each other. They speak with flattering lips, a double heart. Yahweh does cut off all flattering lips. A tongue that speaks swelling words. Draw near to me with their lips and are far with their hearts. Matthew 15. Isaiah rightly prophesied about you, O Pharisees. This people draw near to me with their mouth and respect me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. But in vain they do worship me, teaching as teachings the commands of men. Isaiah 29:13. Yeshayahu 29:13. Yahweh does cut off all flattering lips, a tongue that speaks swelling words. Who have said, with our tongue we do mightily. Our lips are our own. Who is master over us? With our tongue we do mightily. A lying tongue. Proverbs 6:16. These 6 matters Yahweh hates, and 7 are an abomination to him. All right, let's go up to 11. Proverbs 6:11. And your poverty shall become like a prowler, and your need as an armed man. A man of Belial, a wicked man, walks with a perverse mouth. winks with his eyes, shuffles his feet, points with his fingers, perverseness is in his heart. Plotting evil at all times, he sends out strife. Therefore his calamity comes suddenly. Instantly he is broken, and there is no healing. These 6 matters Yahuwah hates, and 7 are an abomination to him: a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands shedding innocent blood, a heart devising wicked schemes, feet quick to run to evil, a false witness breathing out lies, and one who causes strife among brothers. My son, watch over your father's command, and do not forsake the Torah of your mother. Bind them on your heart always, tie them around your neck. When you are walking about, it leads you. When you lie down, it guards you. And when you have woken up, it talks to you. For the command is a lamp, and the Torah is a light, and reproofs of discipline a way of life. To guard you against an evil woman from the flattering tongue of a strange woman, do not desire her prettiness in your heart, neither let her captivate you with her eyelids. For because of a whore, one is brought to the crust of bread, and an adulteress hunts a precious life. I mean, man, is that not just like, we should read all of it. Proverbs 6:1, my son, if you have become a guarantor for a friend, have shaken hands in a pledge for a stranger, have been snared by the words of your own mouth, have been caught by the words of your mouth, do this at once, my son, and deliver yourself. For you have come into the hand of your friend. Go humble yourself and urge your friend. Give no sleep to your eyelids, nor slumber to your eyelids. Deliver yourself like a gazelle from the hunter's hand, and like a bird from the hand of the trapper. Go to the ant, you lazy one, see her way and be wise, which, having no commander or overseer or ruler, provides her supplies in the summer, gathers her food in the harvest. How long would you lie down, O lazy one? When do you arise from your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to lie down. That's to 10, and like, I mean, how many cross words do we have in that? Poverty, the poor, the heart is brought up many times. Flattering tongue, the lying tongue, the words of your mouth, the eyelids. What was it said about Elohim and his eyelids? I know we read it. There we go. Psalm 11:4. His eyes see, his eyelids examine the sons of men. Yep. Give no sleep to your eyes, nor slumber to your eyelids. That's advice for a man who has succumbed to his friend. Yeah. For who have said, with our tongue we do mightily, our lips are our own. Who is master over us? Because of the oppression of the poor, because of the sighing of the needy. I now arise, says Yahuwah. I set in safety, he pants for it. The words of Yahuwah are clean words, silver tried in a furnace of the earth. Where is this? I want to say Revelation 3. I know it's Revelation 3:18. I advise you to buy from me gold refined in the fire, so that you become rich, and white garments, so that you become dressed, so that the shame of your nakedness might not be shown, and anoint your eyes with ointment, so that you see. As many as I love, I reprove and discipline, so be ardent and repent. We know all about from Job 28 about the depths that men will go to retrieve precious metals and ores. And if you haven't watched my Job 28, I go real deep in it. The words of Yahweh are clean words, silver tried in a furnace, refined 7 times. Okay, I need to know where in Corinthians it talks about the burning away. I need to commit this to memory. It's 1 Corinthians 3. I always go to 2 Corinthians 3 on this. Okay. 1 Corinthians 3:10. According to the favor of Elohim, which was given to me, as a wise master builder, I have laid the foundation, and another builds on it. But each one should look how he builds on it. For no one is able to lay any other foundation except that which is laid, which is Yeshua Messiah. And if anyone builds on the foundation with gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, straw, each one's work shall be revealed. For the day shall show it up, because it is revealed by fire. And the fire shall prove the work of each one, what sort it is. If anyone's work remains, which he has built on, he shall receive a reward. If anyone's work is burned, he shall suffer loss. But he himself shall be saved, but so as through fire. Do you not know that you are a dwelling place of Elohim, and that the Spirit of Elohim dwells in you? If anyone destroys the dwelling place of Elohim, Elohim shall destroy him. For the dwelling place of Elohim is set apart, which you are. Let no one deceive himself. If anyone among you seems to be wise in this age, let him become foolish, that he might become wise. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with Elohim, for it has been written, he catches the wise in their craftiness. And again, Yahweh knows the thoughts of the wise, that they are worthless. I didn't know that this quoted Job. So, that's Job 5:13. I want to go there. Start in 8. But as for me, I would seek El, and I would submit my case to Elohim, who is doing great and unsearchable deeds, innumerable wonders, who is giving rain on the earth's face, and is sending waters out of the field's face, to set the lowly on high. Do not forget the lowly ones, Psalm 10:12. And those who mourn shall be lifted to safety, thwarting the schemes of the crafty, so that their hands do not work effectively, catching the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of schemers are swept away. By day they encounter darkness, at noon they grope as in the night. This is Eliphaz speaking to Job. And so then let no one boast in man, for all belongs to you, whether Shaul or Apollos or Kepha, or the world, or life, or death, or the present, or the future, all belongs to you, and you belong to Messiah. Messiah belongs to Elohim. Woo. The words of Yahweh are clean words. Who is the Word? And what did he not do? Sin. He never became unclean. Silver tried in a furnace of earth, refined 7 times. You guard them, O Yahweh. You preserve them from this generation forever. From generation to generation, never be an evil. The wrong walk around on every side. when worthlessness is exalted among the sons of men.
When you've got wrong men talking about how they would never do evil. No, I'd never do such a thing. I rebuke you in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. I rebuke you in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Praise Yahweh. Amen.